Question 14. The length of the longest diagonal of a cube is 25 centimeters. Calculate the total surface area of the cube. So, if I just draw my cube, so here is my cube. Because it's a cube, I'm going to let all of the sides equal x for now. Okay, so the length, height, and width are x. So that means the total surface area would be the area of one of the faces times by 6. Now the area of one of the faces would be x times x, which is x squared. So the total surface area would be 6x squared. So we just know that. Now normally to find out the longest diagonal, you could do Pythagoras theorem on the base diagonal, and then to find out the longest diagonal, you use the base diagonal with the height using Pythagoras theorem. Now, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to actually use a formula of this. The quick formula would be width squared plus height squared plus length squared. And that's just a quick way of finding out the longest diagonal of a cube or a cuboid. So I know that the width and the height and the length are the same. So I would put x squared plus x squared plus x squared. So that would leave me with square root of 3x squared. And now we said that the longest diagonal is 25. So that's the formula for the longest diagonal. So that should equal 25. Now I'm going to solve it then. And I need to get to 6x squared, remember. So first of all, I'm going to square it to get rid of the square root. So when I square it, 3x squared, the square root will go. And then 25 squared would be 625. Now remember, I need to get to 6x squared. So really, I don't need to divide by 3 to find out x squared and times by 6. All I can do is just double them, times by 2 to get to 6x squared. So I'm going to times it by 2, times it by 2. So I would get 6x squared would equal 1,250 centimeters squared. So that would be my final answer. Question 15. Solve by factorization. 5x squared plus 7x plus 2 equals 0. Now make sure you solve by factorization. A lot of people lost marks because they tried to solve by completing square or quadratic formula. So the way you have to do this is I'm going to split the 7x into two numbers. Something x and something x. But to find the two numbers, I have to think about what do I times to get 10 and add to get 7. So times to get 10, adds to get 7. The two numbers to times to get 10, add to get 7 would be 5 and 2. So I would write 5x squared plus 5x plus 2x plus 2 equals 0. Then my method is I split it in half and I factorize both parts. So I can take out 5x here and I can take out 2 here. So my plan is that the brackets inside should be the same. If it's not the same, something has gone wrong. And it is the same. So all I have to do now is group the outsides together and then write it with the bracket like this. So I would get 5x plus 2, x plus 1 equals 0. Now to find out my final answer, because I know that two numbers times together equals 0, one has to be 0. So I say when 5x plus 2 equals 0, what does x equal? And when x plus 1 equals 0, what does x equal? Now that would be x would equal minus 2.5 and x would equal minus 1. So my answers would be that. If you wanted to, you could substitute in to check your answer to see if it equals 0. And if you check, it does. Question 16. Sketch the graph of y equals minus sine x for when x is between 0 and 360. Now what I like to first do is use a pencil and sketch the graph of y equals sine x. It's just so I can see my points, so I know what I have to do. So you should know that for the key points would be 0, 0, minus 90 and 1, 180 and 0, 270 and minus 1, and 360. So remember, when I'm joining the sine graphs together, it's a curve like this, not a straight line. So that is the graph of y equals sine x. Now let's have a look at y equals minus sine x. That just means that for my value of sine x, once I get my value of sine x, I will times it by minus 1 to get y. So that just means that, for example, sine of 90 is 1. So now it would actually be minus 1. Sine of 180 is 0. So times by minus 1, it will still stay in the same place. Or I could think that if it's minus on the outside, you will notice that it's just this means a reflection off the x-axis. So if I reflect all my points, my key points, that should be there. This one now should be positive 1, and this one should be 0. And then I would draw my lines together. So that would be the line y equals minus sine x. If I ignore this one, that would be my line.